Arganissima, New York. Your exotic skin, hair, and beauty source, and your one-stop shop for all your natural and organic skin and hair care, featuring authentic organic Moroccan oil and prickly pear seed oil and much more. Bringing you only the best, straight from the source and proudly produced in the USA. So what are you waiting for? Shop today. Arganissima, New York. Your beauty is our duty.
Welcome back to the iHealth channel, the Fitness Fab channel, iHealth Radio with your host, Hurricane H. New day, new show, great topic. I'm going to enjoy this one today because my guest speaks my language in terms of fitness. It is about fitness today, but it is about fitness in light of age and fitness and balancing both. I mean, we all have different ideas of how to stay fit, and the younger we are, the invincible we think we are. And as you get age, things kind of become a little bit more difficult. But today's discussion with my fellow podcaster and, someone who has been in the fitness industry, who's been a personal trainer, who has his own brand, and, who wants to bring that message to people of mid-age, as to how to hack it up, how to make it work. So that being said, I have with me Brad Williams. Brad, welcome to the show.
Yeah. Thanks so much, Hurricane, for inviting me on the show. This is great.
Listen, we connected. It's all good. And you know what? You have some great insights because you and I, we just had a brief discussion. And you did, and if I may, you did state that you're 42. And I said, you don't look 42. And you said, you know what? I try to make it look good in the fitness world, but it is really difficult, place to be. It's a turning point, I would say. I'm 52. so I got a decade ahead, but I can remember 40, and 41, 42, just like yesterday. And it is amazing how that whole transformation, happens in your body. And I would say literally every decade you feel the difference. It's just how you maintain is the key. So now you have so much experience in this world. I mean, of fitness, you've trained people. And it's funny because you had trained people in a certain way, and you were the one that say, "Hey, push and do this and do that," and people probably reacted to you. But then you realize now, like, wait a minute, I know what they were talking about then. So let's talk about your story first of all. How you got into the fitness world and as a personal trainer, and your kind of like your background in the fitness, and then we'll talk about maybe your podcast and the idea behind it, and then we can deep dive into the hacks.
Yeah, absolutely. And pretty soon I'll be 50. I might have to change the name of my show over 50 fitness hacks.
No, just say hacks, fitness hacks, 40 and above.
Exactly. So born and raised in Central California. My dad was a medical doctor, mom was a nurse. So I was kind of set up for success, I guess, with, a kind of a healthy wellness background growing up. I was real into sports, kind of picked soccer as my main theme of sport. And just did that all the way to high school, then started hitting the gym, trying to get the aesthetics and the muscles going. And, I ended up going to Long Beach State, Southern California, for a business degree because I always looked up to my uncle, and he was a big financial business guy, CEO, CFO of all these different companies. And I just kind of followed in his footsteps and always knew I wanted to be an entrepreneur. And through various jobs and his help and with the help of my brother, I ended up picking fitness. This is my passion. It's what I do 7 days a week. Why not do your passion? So we created a business plan. And, my last job working at the port of Los Angeles was a real high paying job, but real stressful job. So, I saved up over 5 years, and my brother did too. And then we opened up our first spot in Huntington Beach, California. And then 14 years later, that's today. That's just a roller coaster ride of, opening up I had at one point 4 gyms, over 60 different personal trainers, all independent, paying rent to the spots, and just dealing with the city, and even worse, California, trying to do business in California. But, I've lateraled, gone left, gone right. I've done different things and gone after different marketing methods. And here I am today now with my own podcast show and going more, scalability going online. And my whole theme of all my clients the last 14 years have been just the over 40 crowd. Because I think one, that's just who could afford personal trainers, but that's kind of who I kind of picked for my genre, to train. And I had all sorts of different personal trainers that did athletics or bodybuilding type stuff, but mine was just more basic, toning, looking good, but also not giving up your social life. So that's me in a nutshell.
That's a lot, and I'd like to kind of break it down a little bit, so because there's many things that I think our audiences can benefit here, and one is just your environment, I guess, your entourage, the way you were raised in a way. I mean, you were kind of like in the realm of health and wellness, as you stated, and I just want to tell that, to highlight that piece to the audiences, that while that might be, a trigger, doesn't mean necessarily, one way or the other people are healthy, you know because that's the one thing that people may realize, that yeah, it's the more you are in, pretty much uh, in the mix of something, whatever it is, you're gonna find yourself in that mix a little bit, right, or inclined to it. But
Yeah.
that's just the rule. I mean, it's maybe not necessarily the main concept, right? You can have a deviation from that, and we've seen that. So, but that doesn't mean that you cannot be healthy no matter what your background is, no matter what your entourage or environment. So that's really the message I want to convey about that, is because, because people's like, well, you're lucky, you had it all, figured out. You were in the right, moment, the right elements. The elements don't make us; we make ourselves, and I think that's an important message for people. And it comes back to me. I hear this all the time. Oh, circumstances, my environment, my, where I grew up, how I grew up, my family, this, that. That might have some stuff to do with how we do things, but if, again, the drive that's in you, that can change everything. And many people can move one way or the other, actually. They can
Yeah.
have all the good environment and they go bad, and they can have all the worst environment, they go great. So
Yeah.
there's
Trust
no.
me, the body is very resilient. You could start at any time, and doesn't matter what your background is.
That's right. Yeah, yeah. Well, so that's one, and then I love what you said. You wanted to do business. You had, all this ambition, but you had the entrepreneurship, concept behind you, and I've had recently few jobs, discussions, and versus jobs and entrepreneurship, type of discussions, and there is a tendency for certain people that they just are made to be entrepreneurs, and because again, the discussion I've had before recently was about how we are conditioned in the system, that you are trained from the get-go that you're going to go get a job, get education, get a job, scale up in the career, and that's it. And then retire. Boom. That's like the path. That's the majority of the thought believe in, that's out there around the world, actually, not in the US only. But
Yep.
then you have a percentage of people that are like, no, that's not me. I will learn, but I want to do something for me. And I love what you said, your passion. I do 7 days a week at a gym. Might as well make it my career and my business and my income and revenue, right? But enjoy what I do. And then here you go. You hit the 40 mark and you're like, wait a minute. I
Yep.
can do even better now because I can focus on this particular age group, because it is an actual, it's probably a serious age, and it's a good age. I can tell you, for me personally, 40s were like my best day, my best years to date, that I can relate to personally. It was
Yeah.
just like, I was at the gym every day, same thing. Just like there's a kick. It's like, the, what do you call that? Midlife crisis. It
Over the
triggers,
hill.
it's like, yeah, you're right there. Like, you're the hump, you're here and you're like, everything is peachy, everything is good. And you want to look the best. You want to do everything good. And then things start, get a little difficult, for you, but you just have to maintain. So I wanted to just touch on these points, because people, are watching or listening, we're going to talk about health and fitness here and wellness
Hmm.
and all the stuff. But really, these are all important pieces of the discussion, since you mentioned them. I mean, the idea of being an entrepreneur. By the way, there's nothing wrong with you having a career path, and making it happen. And even if you did, many people actually do that for a while until they have enough money, as you said, and save. And then, because you can't just start business overnight and think that it's going to happen if you don't have some back end, you got to put the time, the money, the energy, the effort. And so you do need to do that. So you have and then you have to also gain the skills and the knowledge and the experience, somewhere else. And you learn a lot from working in the corporate world. So that's important. So you have a balance there. And again, it is not for everyone, but yes, if you're going to pursue your passion, there's nothing better than you waking up in the morning doing what you love and making money out of it. and
Absolutely.
that's like the sweet things. Mondays become Good Fridays.
Yeah.
you know
Exactly. No, yeah, every day is a good day. It doesn't
exactly.
it's hard to know what day it is anymore.
Yeah,
But
that's right. Yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
yeah,
So that's it for me.
yeah. Well, just you're touching on that. Going through Long Beach State and everything I did. It's a great base level. I always say, to get some type of education doesn't necessarily need to be a 4-year school, but it does give you a baseline. But once you get out there into the field as an entrepreneur on your own, I mean, nothing prepares you for that except for just diving in and surviving. So if you have that attitude of you can lateral, you just go get them. You know, you're passionate about what you do, and you just want to give that value. That's the most important thing. And I learned none of that in school. Basically just putting business proposals together and that kind of stuff, and getting your books right. But it is 9 day different once you get out there. So just know that. And the last 14 years have not been all ups. It was ups and downs and downs and downs, and then some ups, and just going all over the place. And now at one point I had 4 gyms, kind of had to consolidate because just competition was too hard, and laws changed in California, and then COVID happened in everywhere. So we've had a lateral move. So I've dwindled down to about 1 gym, and just now my level of stress is just way down. I'm focusing more on, putting more value out there, more online stuff. And one of my clients said something to me that a couple of years ago that stuck with me, and it's right when I hit 40. And he said, everything you just did the last 40 years, doesn't matter how much money you have, everything you have learned, that is so much value. And I'll tell you one thing, life begins after 40. I was like, whoa. It's like, I thought I was supposed to retire in 10 years, but okay, life begins after 40. So, I can keep pumping. So, I mean, that's what really kind of rocked me. And I've just had that mindset now. 40, this is it. No more mistakes. Just keep going, put that value out there. And that's where I'm at. I'm in a good place.
Listen, it's the best place to be. And I'm in 50, but it's all good. I still feel the same. I want to keep up the same thing, 60, 70, as long as I live. And that's the other thing. It's all the spirits, the mindset, right? You gotta set yourself and reset. Just because you age a little bit in time doesn't mean that you're gonna change. Stuff. Maybe your body is gonna have a little. It dynamically, physically, physiognomy is going to change, and the anatomy is going to affect it. But you can reduce some of that by fitness is one of the biggest ways you can do that. But really, even psychology speaking, right? Because doing what you love, enjoying what you love, regardless of how difficult it may be, because that's the thing, and we're going to talk about that briefly. It's a big deal when your mind is actually happy. You're actually feeling good about what you're doing. You will actually react differently. Your life's going to be different. You're going to age differently. You're going to be, happier in your stuff. Your environment's going to be much, enjoyable, if you want to call it that way. So you're going to create that environment and that atmosphere for you. And that's that ambiance that you're going to live within is going to be a different and maker or breaker for you, literally. And some people, they just kind of collapse and, or they just get like deep down and they just put their head in the ground. They just keep doing and grinding, but eventually it's going to get to you. And so you got to keep doing, the best that you can to keep healthy and happy. Right. And those two things go hand in hand. But so the other thing you said, I love what you said about lateral, up and down, more downs than up. You're right. Nobody prepares us, in the world of business. I think 90% of people that have been to a level of college, they've learned business somehow, a level or degree of college. I mean, obviously, the higher you go, the more you learn. But even at the master's degree level, you're going to learn some good strategy, maybe plan and stuff. But it's still theoretical to a bit, and it's limited to certain things. But when you're going to the real mix, you're going to deal with real people, different things, different, swings and, blindsided left, right, whatever. And you're going to get all these little things and you're going to have obstacles. You're going to have burdens. You're going to have issues. And you're right. And you're going to develop things and you're going to have your own style. Whether it's from staffing, from, you said it, the state law, you got nothing to do with that, but you have to deal with it, right? When you work for companies, you don't deal with that. You just come in, clock out. If let's say you're a management, you don't have to, but you walk in, you do your job, you can get out. But somebody, when you own your business, especially when you are the lead of the business and you're running it in a township, whatever, just building your place. Dealing with building permits and the city and this and approvals can be a painful thing. And so those, and you probably have to entrench yourself because it is your money, it is your blood and sweat, and you're gonna do whatever it takes. So again, expectations, folks. If you are out there, uh, contemplate doing your own thing. There's nothing wrong with that. But be to your point, I love what you said. Be prepared. You know, it's not gonna be like a peachy rock. Walk in the park and you're just gonna be like, because we watch. You know, I know you're probably like me. We always influence ourselves with looking at other success stories and things like that. But you see a lot of posts and things and Lamborghinis and this and
Yeah.
luxurious lifestyle. And yes, it's all good, and you want to get there eventually. That's not necessarily a necessity to have, but it's good to actually have a target. But at the end of the day, what you see is not the norm. What you see is the exception. So as long as you know that logic and that reality, you'll be good. If you just see that what you see is like, oh, I want that, I want it so bad, but it's gonna be between now and that is a lot of hardship, a lot of work, and be prepared for it. And if you get tired quickly, if you get disappointed very easily, chances are you're going to get a nice blowback and you're probably not going to continue. You got to have thick skin and you have to be able to fall and get up and do a lot of that before you do it. And I
Yeah.
love it. And I love your attitude about it. No matter what, you scaled up to 4 gyms, you went down to 1, your ego is not touched. You know, that's another thing that people have to have. You know, you can expand, you can decrease, you can move left, you can switch businesses, whatever it is. Nobody owes you money. You
Yeah.
owe it to yourself, and that's the bottom line. You got to do what you got to do for yourselves, folks. And that's the biggest message that I always tell people. What I do is for me and my own family. I can care less what people may think. I mean, I respect people's opinion and so on and so forth, but no one is really here for me physically doing the work with me and giving me the money or supporting me or going through my day-to-day life, right? And so, yeah, that's the part. You're doing this on your own with your close group that actually is helping you build whatever you build. In this case, your brother and your immediate folks. But that's it. And for people watching and listening, same concept, folks. Do what you got to do, build to it, make it happen. So I think we've talked about business and entrepreneurship stuff. Now let's deep dive into the actual fitness piece of it. But you've grown into this. You were always someone that loved to do fitness. But I love what you said. I don't want to quit my social life. Now that's a big thing because social life comes with entertainment, nightlife, drinking, maybe
Hmm.
some of these things. Not sleeping as much. Those are all things that in the wellness world, we kind of say stay away from them, limit those things and stuff. So balancing this is very tough. Now you said the age group of 40 is usually where someone is in their career path booming, midlife crisis is happening, but it's also like it's either mid management, entrepreneurship, or like top management. And at that time, you have, to your point, social life becomes part of your career path too, of your
Yep.
lifestyle. You have to meet and greet. You got to mingle. You got to schmingle. You got all that stuff, right? You're networking. All dine, wine, dine. All these things are happening. Partying is a lot. Traveling happens a lot. All these come with a little bit of stress in your body, your health, everything else. Sometimes if you do too much of it, you might not have time to do what you need to do for this. And therefore it becomes a problem. Now you have illnesses and sickness hits in and you get a little flubby and a lot of things. You lose your toning and whatever it is, your muscles. And so it is a difficult place. So Brett, guide us through this stage. This is
Yeah.
now where we talk core, your world.
Yeah. Absolutely. Well, just everything you just said is right. Getting to 40, maybe you have kids, you've got a job that's like really grinding you and you're working hard. You just have less and less time. You're slowing down. A lot of jobs nowadays is gig worker jobs or desk working. So you're just not moving anymore. And we saw that post COVID, even for us personal trainers, we're working out all the time and doing, 20,000 steps a day. And then during COVID, we still did our workouts. We brought everything home. But after the workout was done, we just sat there and did nothing. Oh my God, all of us started ballooning up. So it just shows you how important movement is. But going back to over 40, it just happens with, our career paths and with family and kids. And then the other part is our physiological bodies are meant to start turning and fighting the aging process of survival. So our body holds on to fat because it is such a good energy source. It wants to hold on to it for survival methods. It's not fair, but it's just part of, aging. And so yes, we like aesthetics and everything, and a lot of people kind of shoot for that, but it's better to go for overall health, good sleep, feeling good, stretching, making sure you get lots of steps, making sure you get sun. And then of course, weight training does play a part as well, and then comes with some aesthetics. But that's kind of the overall message I try to put out there. And and like you said, the work life, fun, entertainment balance, because I refuse to give up my social life. So kind of where I steer people, the over 40 crowd is, doing more quality type workouts, doing more quality type diets, to maximize their time, to where they can, kind of fend for themselves on weekends and have a little fun, drink a little bit, have not the greatest of food, but with some rules. And then back to the grind Monday through Friday, we go clean. And there's obviously people have different times where they're really where their weekend is, so you just kind of shift everything around. But one of the first things I start with clients is how bad stress is, and you kind of touched on that. And so besides mental stress, what you're going through with work or relationships, there could be physical stress, which is like injuries, or maybe they're grinding themselves too hard in the gym. And cortisol is a hormone that starts spiking when you're in distress. And we, as a personal trainer, trying to get a client to lose those pounds and get toned, if you can't handle that stress and get that cortisol level down, our job is just pointless. We can't do anything. I'll tell you a story. I had one client, this female client, about 32 years old, and she was with me for like 2.5 years, and we got her to a nice level, but just couldn't get that extra 10 pounds off. And no more dieting worked, adding in more workouts. You always didn't want to overdo it, but it just came to a point where she was just, okay, I guess this is it, and just happy with what I got. And throughout those 2 years, I found out that she hated her job, hated her boss, hated her peers. It was just a bad situation at work. And 2 years later, finally, she was talking about going off on her own and doing like website development. And finally, her husband got some job that could, basically let her make that next move and quit. And it was literally the happiest day of her life. And within 1 week, she dropped like 6.5 pounds. I was like, you gotta be kidding me. Like, all this time, and it was freaking stress, and took care of it, problem solved. And we lost more weight even after that. But in 1 week, a 6.5 pound drop. And that just shows you how bad stress is for the over 40 crowd. So that's one of the first things I deal with. And then, then we go into hydration, tweaking their people's diets, and, we can go into a whole bunch of different hacks. So I'll let you kind of steer me where you want, Hurricane.
Yeah, no. So I appreciate that, and again, I want to just maybe retouch on the stress piece, because what you said, we're talking about, again, hitting the 40s, but it could be early on too. I mean, there's no real level or age level, I would say, but in the 40s, there's a good chance you've had a nice incline in your work path and you've done good. I mean, college, you're out in 2021, 22. That's your is basic escape from college and then go into the real world. And if you're quick, you can climb up any ladder, based on your career path. And by the 30s, you're already like up there. But when you start going into management, and if that's usually a stress level that is higher than most. And again, it may not be necessarily true, because some jobs are hard just by default, and especially the ones that there's two types. I mean, the ones you work with your hands, the ones you work with your brains. And with your hands, you know what you get. You get, you're tired physically, boom, done. With the other one, your mental status is impacted, and really it gets a toll on you, and you bring it home. And and to your point, like sometimes you're tired, you just you can't hit the gym, you do anything, and you're just like. Then also at work, you might drink stuff that you don't need to drink. You might get sugar stuff just to keep going, right? All these things can affect you. Now, when you're 20s, one thing, your body's metabolism is like at the peak time. It's cool, it's cool. Whatever you put in, it's just gonna get like shut right now. But 30s, things start slowing down. In the 40s, your body says, "Hey, take it easy here." I'm not the same as I was 10 years ago, believe it or not. And that's exactly most people right now, if they're watching, if they're below the 40s, they're probably like, yeah, you guys are, just joking, right? We're not, because guess what? We've been through that, and I
And
can
they
tell
will
you,
too.
and if you live long enough, you will experience that. I can tell you that much. But here's the thing: I know that both Brad and we've spent all our lives in the gym, and I can tell you, for me, as I've been in martial arts since I was 9, and I have been in a form of workout or gym or practice or movement all my life. And even with that, I get moments where I get that little flub, and I get a little bit of fat, and get a little stressed, you get tired, and it's hard to keep up. That's the other thing. Like, there is no way you're gonna just keep it up 100%. Maybe there's 1% that can do that, and there's a point where you just drop, and you have ups and downs. There's a year where you just say, whatever, this is my cheat year, I don't care. And I've had that year myself, and I've gained actually 45 pounds, and then I dropped them back in 2 years.
Yeah.
you know, I'm maintained since then. But it happens. So know, folks, that when you are in business careers, life stress is going to be there, and it's going to take a toll whether you like it or not. You add to it everything else that you do, whether you're drinking, smoking, bad stuff, whatever. Lack of sleep could be the biggest one of them. And you said, I love what you said. The example that you gave is the most awesome example you can hear, folks. Is that here's someone who just gave, like, whatever physically she was doing was not giving the results. But as soon as she got rid of that mental stress, her body was just like
Just
energy,
let
that
go.
because she was happier. Imagine when you're happy, like endorphins are kicking, everything's kicking. You're like, you're just like, agitated, right? And so your body's moving faster. You're probably doing more burning and things like that. And I'm sure her diet at the time has become something different, because now that she's not having to. Because here's the thing: you're a personal trainer. I can tell you, most people, you give them what they need to have, how much they need to have. They tell you to do it. And I know that some people do cheat every now and then.
Oh
They
yeah.
don't really do it exactly, or they follow what you say, but they do extras. They're not going to tell you they're doing it because they love it. Some people would, but it is part of it. We're all kind of humans, right? So we all kind of crave things. Sometimes you say, "What the hell?" You go to the movies. You're probably going to get some snacks and things like that. Unnecessary calories. All these things happen. So the fact of stress that you mentioned is big. Now, social life is important. No one is saying you can't have it. And I love what you said is like, yes, the weekend comes, you're probably going to do a little bit of off, but then you have the rest of the week to make it up. And so you got to keep, so as long as you have that routine and you don't overdo things, there's a good chance your body is going to maintain. Now,
Yeah.
the longer you are, the age, hits you, the more you're going to have to plan differently, because things are not going to be whatever you take in. If you're going to lose 75% of it, you're probably going to lose 50% of it, and it gets less and less eventually. So you have to be careful of your intake. At least that's my advice. And again, you're an expert at this. You have seen people transform,
Yeah.
and this group of people that you're dealing with, in personal training, they must love you, because you are giving them, what probably others would not give them. Because in a lot of places they say, don't do this, don't do this, don't do this. Cut, 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 cut. When you tell people to cut everything, they're not going to be very happy. They might do it because they have that objective to gain, to lose whatever and gain a nice little physique that they want. However, they're not very pleased about it because you're depriving them from life. You're balancing that for them. You're giving them, here's what you can do, and here's what we need to do to make it happen. So you're going to give some, and I give some, and then we're going to make it work. That's a healthy different. I mean, I would say, I don't know when to say healthy, because some people may say like, well, it's not very healthy, because people will always challenge these things, right?
Of course.
So it is just a formula, guys. There's no one, this is not a cookie cutter, right? This is one unique formula. There's multiple personal training formats and methodology. Use whatever you feel like, but if you feel like your social life is important, and you feel like you want to be happy, and you feel like you still want to look good and do this, Brad's formula works.
Yeah.
So again, for that type of mentality, that type of attitude, if that's what you want, this is the right one for you. If you really want, like, I want to cut everything, I don't want to do anything, I would just want to be like slim, good, whatever, chiseled, that too. Again, that's the part about this beauty of the world, that we have so many forms, so many opportunities, so many choices, and it's all available, and we can get to pick and choose. We have
Yeah.
freedom.
So, and that's more my style too, is, a lot of clients come in and think that, oh God, what diet is he going to put me on, or what training style is he going to put me on? I'm more of like a puzzle master. I like get from the client what they're unwilling to give up, what they will give up, try new things, and there's so many different ways to get to the same result with rules. And I just, I'm not looking to take away anything. So, for the drinkers, I've got little plans for them. For the sweet tooths, there's little plans for them. And one of the biggest hacks, I'll just tell your audience right now, just being over 40, especially for me, was just the simple notion and theory of intermittent fasting. So whatever diet you're doing, you just stay on it. I don't want to mess with anyone's diet, starting out, but just, would you let me crunch down the time window of your eating schedule? So, if people are eating from 7 a.m. all the way to 9 p.m., can we get you to go to 9 a.m. to, 6 p.m.? Just, eat the same amount of food, do whatever you're doing, but let's just crunch that time window down. It just gives your body more time in that fasting state while you sleep, while you wake up a little bit before you eat breakfast to process everything you put in it. And just from doing that, I just started noticing like, oh my God, I'm just loving the way my body looks with this. And, obviously it helps when you are on a high protein diet, you're not eating the junk food, you're drinking lots of water, obviously. And, there's a million aspects of that, but just to start someone out, just crunch that time window tighter and tighter and tighter. It doesn't need to be a 3-day fast or anything like that. It's just crunching those, and try that for a couple weeks and see how you feel. And it may not be for everybody, and everybody's body's different. That's why there's not one diet that fits all. But it is something you can try and see how you feel. And if the client tells me, no, I feel terrible, I just can't do it, cool. We'll scratch that one. We'll go on to the next one. So that's the beauty of being in this industry long enough, is there's so many different ways. And, I've tried all of them because I figure, I'm the guy that everyone's looking to for diets and training programs. And I've tried everything, every supplement, every diet, everything. Cause I feel it's what I'm supposed to do to shepherd the herd.
Well, again, you're the lead, but I can share with you personally, just like you said, in my worst time when I gained all that weight and I needed to come back, it was literally just early 40s. And so I said to myself, I got to do things. So very few things I've done. I mean, I've exercised more, but what I did is, to your point, I had a light breakfast and, a lunch or late lunch, early dinner. That was it. No more. If I had to snack at night, it would be like a fruit or something. And that was it. And I worked every day. I worked out every day. And I also reduced my sugar intake, literally. I mean, I have a sweet tooth. I love chocolate, but so what I did is just I cut it down, and even if I crave something, I'll just get a small bite, nothing big. So again, I watch my calories intake. I watch, what I did, and balance it. Like if I had a bad day, I know I had to do more. So the next day I did more and I ate less. So that was just how I did it, but, everybody's different, but you're right. It still goes into that time frame. You eat less, during the day, and then you achieve more. The worst thing that people do sometimes is eat late. Yeah. I stopped eating late, and even now I don't eat late. So my dinner is already done. So, and that's really how it works, so you're good, you feel good, you sleep good, you don't have any problems. I love what you said about water. Water is important. So you make that as part of the deal. But you're right. No one can tell you that, there's a one formula, because you said it, you and I, we can do exactly the same thing and the results will vary. Your body is not mine. Your metabolism is not mine. Your genetics are not mine. All these factors are going to play. Your ethnic background can even, have something to do it with it, because again, we know this. Some ethnicities, they have, let's say, different issues in terms of, let's say, diabetes or other things. Everybody's different in terms of the genetics, so it changes that dynamic. So you have to be aware of that, but you can see results. Results will always be there as long as you do the work, but they're just going to be different. What works for you, like literally, and I love what you said, is that you are adapting. Everybody's different. Some of those guys that like the drinking is one thing. Some of those that did the sweet tooth, although drinking does have sugar and stuff. So you plan it differently, so you can give them. You don't deprive them. You allow them to have what they need. And you probably would notice that when you start doing these things, people will start giving up things anyways. Yeah, because they'll find, slowly but surely, they'll just kind of weed themselves out of things, because it works that way. It's amazing how it works. And by the way, the least you eat, on a day-to-day basis, the least urge you're going to have about the eating. You're just going to be content with whatever you get and you're comfortable.
Mhm.
The more you eat, the more you're going to be hungrier and you're going to want to eat. It's amazing how these things work. The mind, the body, they all sync. I mean, and one leads to the other and it gets worse. It's either getting better or worse. I mean,
Yeah.
pick
But
one.
that's a sign of a good coach too, is, while they're looking here, you're doing something else with their program. And eventually they do start letting some of those other things go. And you're like, yes, my plan worked. But, you don't say you're going to take it away all up front. But yeah, you're right.
So Brad, you mentioned something earlier about, different programs. So weightlifting or like, bodybuilding kind of muscle stuff.
Hmm.
That's one. You talked about toning. So let's talk about the different uh I guess exercises and things the tools that you use in your program to kind of, because each one of them has a different one. It works, the cardio one works, the toning one gives you that you talked about high protein, you're building those muscles. So let's talk about that.
Yeah. So since I've been over 40 and trying all these different things, I've kind of found a program that like works really well. And one part of it is called, time under tension, kind of slowing down all your reps. And, I kind of fell into this because I had to. About 5 years ago, I had a tripping accident holding heavy racks of weights and held on to it. And I blew out my L5 S1 disc. And just, I've had, multiple issues the last 5 years and finally have honed in like, okay, I've got the perfect program, the perfect support, it's healed as best as it can. And I'm doing great now. And I've learned this theory of, time under tension. And, we kind of knew it as doing negatives or that kind of stuff, but it's just slowing down up the concentric and the eccentric. So if you're doing a squat, taking 5 seconds, 5 full seconds, not fast, but 5 full seconds going down, pause, 5 seconds going back up. And same thing with bicep curls on the eccentric coming up, 5 seconds going down, slow it down. And when you do that, it's just a more quality workout. You're recruiting more muscle fibers and you're using less weight, less prone to injury for us over 40 folk. And for working out, you don't need much to get that stimulus from your hormones to tell your body it needs to grow. It doesn't need to be as heavy as you need to go. So I implore my clients to at least do one of those sessions per week. And then another one is high intensity training. I always hated doing CrossFit and, F45. You remember then when they first came out in here in Orange County, they had like a competition. And us trainers all banded together. It was 4 versus all the other 4-packs. And it was just body weight, high intensity, where you got 45 seconds and only a 15-second break and had to keep going. Oh my God, that was horrible. But we did really well. And I never want to do that again. But, with all the things I've been reading and researching is when we're over 40, our body starts losing, because of why we're slowing down of everything we've been talking about, work, family, all this. Our body starts recycling and killing off extra mitochondria in our cells that it doesn't need. And that's our powerhouses, which keeps us youthful and energetic because it doesn't need them. It's not going to keep them for you if you don't stress your body. So doing high intensity exercises, and it could just be body weight and, doing 30 seconds all out of like squats or ballistic push-ups or jumps or something, take a 30-second break, then do it again and see how far you can go with a few different exercises. Your body will stress, it'll create more mitochondria and thus turn you back into a 20, 30-year-old fat burning machine. So that was a big thing that I started doing with a lot of my clients. It's harder to do now that we're older, but we still got to push ourselves to keep stressing our body or else we won't get that change.
Well, I love what you said because, first of all, you alluded to something about injury, and that's a big deal. See, when we're young, again, we're invincible. We think we are.
Yeah.
And we go crazy. And, one of the things that you see at the gyms, I see them every day. Like when I go to gym, I mean, young guys, they pump in so many weights and plates and just like, yeah, I'm getting all excited about it. And listen, I've done that myself, back in the days. And
Same
I realized,
here.
I realized a long time ago that it was not a happy place because you hurt yourself. And I don't need all that because even if you build, no matter what you build, the minute you stop, it's just going to go away. And exactly. So you're just doing stuff that it may not be as effective. What you do need is to maintain a certain look, certain physique, and you just got to work it out and find the right formula for you. And again, that's why you have help, like in personal training and gyms that are specialized in these things. But that's a big deal because here's what happens when you hurt yourself, and if you can't come back from that hurt, it's over. And believe me, you will gain weight, and everything is going to downhill, and it's
Hmm.
over. Because if you can't maintain your integrity as a body, it's there's nothing you can do. That's it. You're hurt your back. It's over. I can tell you one thing. Because of the martial arts, I've hurt my back many times, kicks and all the stuff, and my knees, got to a point. So when I hit again the 40 mark, what I changed the way I did things. Like I would run less. I would do bicycle, for example. So to
Hmm.
do stuff, I do more like bag, rounds to warm up as opposed to like doing some high intensity. A bag round for me, 10 minutes, I'm already like sweating. My cardio is way up there. I don't have to do a lot of movement. I'm stable enough. So I changed the way I did things, for my back, posture, for my stuff, and it worked for me. Everybody's got different ways to do this, and if obviously if you don't know what you're doing, you need the experts such as Brad's and team. But that's an important piece to do it, and it's worth investing. But if you are young, don't think that it's going to stay the way it is today. And we don't want to sound like these old farts that are telling you like what not to do. We're just telling you you don't have to listen. I tell that to my kids. I'm telling you, if you don't do it this way, this is what's going to be waiting for you. Period and out. You don't listen, have fun, enjoy the moment, and then oh shit, something is not doing good.
Yep.
And again, there is something that can not be doing good, and you can get out of it. There's something that's going to be not doing good for good, and it's over, and there's nothing you can do about it anymore. You can't bring it back. So you have to be careful. You want to get this body to live with you past the 40, 50, 60, 70. As long as you live, you want to live healthy, happier, and without pain. And that is not going to be very easy to do if you damage enough of your body sooner,
Exactly.
earlier. It's like, again, I give the example of the car. You take a brand new car, two of us take it for a drive. One beats the crap out of it, and the other one takes good care of it. Guess which one has better value? Is the one that is kept clean. And if you don't do the right thing by your body, it's gonna go. It's resilient, but it's gonna give up on you, and you're gonna be careful. I love what you said about the slow motion and taking more like slower reps, longer reps basically, is taking the time to count. 10, 5, whatever I do, tens, fives, depends. But people laugh at me sometimes. They see me doing like 5 pounds, 10 pounds, the most 20 pounds. And they look at you like, really? Bro, I can make you suffer with 20 pounds.
Yes.
That's the thing. People, you can pick up 40 and you can do all that 50 and whatever, even 100 if you can, go for it. But I can give you 5 pounds and make you so in pain. It's not even funny because to your point, I'm gonna give you more reps, longer reps, pose, hold, bring back, and believe me, you without even weights, I can make you do that. In martial arts, we do a lot of training with zero weights, and believe me, you'll be swearing your butt off
Yep.
because and you'll be burning. Your muscle will be like twitching. That's how bad it gets. And it's not about its resistance, and the body and the gravity can do all that stuff. So again, when you get to that point, you don't want. I mean, unless you really want to be in a bodybuilding competition, that's different.
Yeah. No,
Go for,
and more
go for
power
the
to
weight.
them.
Yeah, there is. I mean, we have like we promote Dr. Fitness USA, and that's what they do. They do bodybuilding, and that's different. It's a different concept, and it works for people that want to do that and build the muscle and stuff. And it has its own formula. Like I said, everybody's different, and what you are trying to achieve. You want to look good, fit, looking, nice waist, nice chest, body, whatever, male and female, doesn't matter. All the stuff is going to be done through a certain way of doing things, and with an expert such as Brad's team and Brad, you will be able to get those things. That's the bottom line. But
Yeah.
it's your call, guys. You do your own research, and you said like hit is important because there is the cardio piece of it is high. So if you find a way to do this, and 15 minutes of super cardio can can do it
All
for
you
you.
need. All you need. Yeah.
Exactly. And especially when you do like up and down, burpees, this, that, the other. I mean, 10 minutes, you like your body's like your heart is coming out, right? And so you're good to go. And then you do other things, resistance. And the more the muscles you're working, believe me, you're burning. You're actually doing a lot more burning than people think. So it works different, and again, I don't want to talk as the expert here. I mean, we have Brad, but I'll just relate to you, Brad, and what you stated because that's important. But the importance of not hurting yourself, folks, is key. And
It's
even in the
huge.
40s, you want to do the best that you can to maintain the health that you can. Because I can tell you, folks, it's funny. The day I turned 50, my knees did hurt. It's like magic. It just happened, and you start feeling things that you didn't feel in the 40s. And so, but there is a way to do this. Is that you exercise, you take, your body's going to talk to you, and you're going to have to adjust to it and tweak to it. So you know what's coming up to you, right? In 10
Yeah.
years.
Hey, I'm happy. I'm happy. If that's what I got, I'll take it, Hurricane.
No, but I'm telling you, listen, I no shame in the game. I mean, I try, I do my things. I mean, I have my posts and stuff. I'm always trying to work out and do things for me. It's not for people. It's really because at the end of the day, it's your health. And
Yeah.
we owe it to ourselves. I mean, again, here's the thing. There's two choices. We can either give up and let our body go, and then you have all these issues that you'll get, such as diabetes, blah blah blah, blood pressure, cholesterol, and so on. Or you can maintain and build your body and keep it up, and it's not going to be easy. You might not want to do 7 days a week training. You might want to slow it down. Different ways to do it. You might do more walking than running. Whatever you need to do, talk to an expert and get into a format. If you don't know, that's where we have personal trainers and gyms for that. And
Yeah.
it's an investment, but it is, investing in your health is important. Investing in yourself is important. And so whether from a business perspective or physical perspective or mental perspective, these are your three cores that you need to live with. And you are worth it. That's all I
Yeah,
have to
no,
say.
I agree. And the whole concept too I have is overall health. One of my goals is, the humans, you've seen humans get up to the 120s, 130s, who knows how far we can go. I want to be there when that happens. So I mean, you have to have a picture of overall health. I'm more into, getting with my doctor and checking out my blood work, which I just did recently. And with all the stuff I've been doing over the years, he's like, man, just your cholesterol looks great. Your liver enzymes are great, even though I like to, have a little social life on the weekends. But what I do compensates for that. And I care about my blood pressure. That's great. I care about my cholesterol, and those are the things you need to get to those next levels of breaking the 100 barrier. And there's just so much research and studies going on. I've been listening to all these other podcasts about how they're already reversing age and like skin and organs and brain function on like worms and mice and chimpanzees, to where if we take care of ourselves right now today, there might be a way to if not extend a few decades more, or who knows. So that's kind of my main goal. And aesthetics just comes along with it. If you're living a healthy life and you're doing everything you should, or to a certain percentage, you're going to look great. And all you really have to do too is just, if you feel bad, is just kind of look at your peers, every now and then, be like, oh shit, I'm doing good.
I didn't want to go there, but it's true. I mean, you do look at some folks sometimes, and you're like, wow, some people are younger than you. They might look older than you, and vice versa. So, and that's not a typical gauge, but you can not reverse the aging, but you can slow the aging process.
Yes, that's
that we can do. It's as to your point. If you can get your testosterone and all your hormones and everything's kicking, to your point, like if your cells are breathing properly and getting the nutrients, you're not destroying enough of them faster, then you can continue. You can live your, like we said, I don't know, 50s into 40, 40s into 30, 30 into 20, whatever those expressions. You can do that. You can literally have a decade ahead, of where you're supposed to be in terms of your body and your age. And that's something that people can do. They're achieving that today. And we're not even talking about really reversing, the aging through science. This is just you doing. Yeah, just exactly. You're just slowing it down. We're going to age, folks. There's that fact.
Yeah.
But it's how you're going to age and how you're going to do it. And yes, it's not the same. I'm telling you, folks, every decade you will see a difference, and you will know the difference. Your body's going to talk to you, and then you're going to start making some adjustments. Those adjustments are going to determine whether you're going to do better or worse. Up to you, folks. And don't think that it's only happening to the others. And that's the other part. Maybe you see an exception on the screen somewhere that this dude, they'll do that. They're like in the 70s and 60s. But they do the work to get there, folks.
Mm-hmm.
And by the way, that's the other thing. When you look at someone in the 70s and 80s and 90s, and they're still looking good, know that they've had a longer run than any of us to date. And they've been there, and they've gone through their life already. They've gone through a lot of decades and a lot of fun and stuff, and they maintain and they made it there. We want to be the ones making it there. I mean, because the other choice would be not to make it. That's not a good choice, right?
No.
So we have the motivation here. We have the incentive. We just need to do what's necessary. And again, what's necessary is talk to an expert, have the formula that makes sense for you and work it. Do your thing. I mean, you got to invest time for it. You got to invest money, and make it work. So Brad,
Mhm.
um, you're doing these formulas, you're tweaking things. And by the way, male, female, I mean, this doesn't really make a difference. I mean, adjustments can be made accordingly, but it's really irrelevant because it's all about the food and stuff and the weight and things like that. You can do that. Now, what are your programs like? Are they like, sessions? Are they classes that you mix in, or are they just like, specific, programs for each individuals?
Yeah, so I kind of have two programs right now, and they're both run off partially on Zoom.
Oh,
So
okay.
one is just a coaching where we're talking about stuff that we're talking about right now, just where the client can just vent what they're doing, what they're eating, what's been going wrong, and they just want a sounding board of someone who's been in the industry long enough and been through everything. So that's kind of like my base level program, and basically just do a biweekly or not biweekly, bi-monthly, twice a month check in off Zoom, and you need a couple weeks before coming back to see any kind of changes really, and anything we implement. And then the other thing I do is use a software called True Coach, and it's just a way for me to program out your actual workouts. If you're not going somewhere specifically and you really need help of I've never really worked out before and don't know what I'm doing, then I offer that as another part of the program along with the Zoom as well. So those two programs have been doing very well for me, and I've helped a lot of people. And I love working at my local gym as well too. But the fact is that we're in an age where it's just so much more scalable to put yourself online. And my niche is a little, I'm fighting 20 million other personal trainers here in Orange County versus in the online podcasting world. It's a lot less sharks in the waters.
Well, here's the thing. I mean, the pandemic did drive this new
Yeah.
way of doing things, because you mentioned something about the pandemic hit. The gyms, California is probably one of the worst states, I think, when it comes
God,
to
yes.
how long it took before they even reopened and everything. I'm in Jersey, and it's very similar. It took us a long time before the gyms. They were the first one to shut down, probably one of the last businesses to reopen. A lot of regulations, things that went in effect, and many gyms closed actually in our area. Believe it or not, my wife's gym closed, and that's why we started our own brand. you
Hmm.
know, and I can tell you that story because of that, right? And so we've experienced it, and we went also into a virtual world because that was the first thing you can do, and people actually tend to like it. They don't have to travel anywhere; they can still do everything. To your point, if you give them an app or something, they can watch the programming, they can get excited about it, they can do it with you. They have access to you the same way they would have physically you with them. And some people like that personal, like touch, being in the physical gym, and that's also good. So there's different ways, but many people sometimes they don't get to go to the gym. That's the first excuse. I don't have time. I can't go there. I'm tired. But if you have something like this, you're literally like you don't have to go anywhere.
Yeah.
Grab a
I
space in
mean,
your room and get it done.
and that's it. And I have all these different products I can recommend too. Part of the last 14 years is, besides even being a personal trainer, clients would, quit or move on to something else. But a lot of them would end up coming back and be like, well, I want to build a home gym. Can you help me out? Sure. So I, send them all the links and help them out and build all these gyms. So, I can do it for less than $500. So, you don't need all
Right.
this heavy equipment that we have at our gym. That's kind of more for the you got to be ready for the big boys that come in to have those kind of weights. But for most people, a couple bands, some weights going up to 20 pounds, and adjustable weights, so it's very space saving. So you don't need much, and you could do a lot of damage at home. So
Yeah, I mean, I'm telling you. Well, it's funny because during the pandemic, you couldn't find equipment or
yeah,
anything anywhere. That's how bad it was. You can't find bikes. You can't find, gym stuff. Nothing.
we were using
Everything.
soup cans to do flies with.
Listen, dude, I've been overseas and traveled around the world. And I've seen people using literally cement stuff and a stick, and they put little. You take 2 gallons and you cut them, and you put some cement there. You dry them up. You put a stick, and now you have an actual, a nice
Bar. Yeah.
little bar going on with weights. I mean, I've seen some of the, like unorthodox stuff that people use to work out. We've seen it also in movies where people want to train, like some Japanese or Chinese movies. They go in the woods and they do different things. There are so many things you can do. I mean, to train, there we have all the excuses in the world, but there's really no excuse.
Yep.
You know, Time is not an excuse, and tools are not an excuse. Your body can do all the stuff. You can lean around the wall and just keep pushing the wall. You don't have to go down to the floor. You don't have to do a full push up. You can do knee push ups. Yes, when you get in the 50s, I think knee push ups work. I mean that. I'm just saying as a joke. I did one time a show, and I did it on purpose, and I went on my knees and did that because, yes, I mean, if you can do a full push up, do it. But if you can, you're working the upper body for the most part. So guess what? You can still do it just angled properly, and you can get the resistance. And you can still do it. There's different ways to do this. And martial arts, that would not be acceptable. We got to do what we have to do. But so everybody's different. Not everybody's got the same, training or background. I mean, everybody's body's, going to be different from the other. So do what works for you, slowly but surely, and you can get there. And I love what you said. It's like you simplify for things, for people. And people like that when you say, I can get the results for you, and we can do this in a simple format, voila, and this is how it's going to be, and we're going to talk, and we're going to capture, the weights, we're going to, look at all this stuff. People are going to transform. Transformation is going to happen if you start. Once you start, it's going to happen. It will be at your own pace, and you might see results sooner or later, but it will happen.
Yeah. And that's the thing is, like, everyone listening, everyone can do their own programming, watch and educate themselves, and maybe even use a trainer just for a couple sessions and then do it all on your own. The main goal for a personal trainer is, we're an accountability coach, to keep people accountable. And, plus, the knowledge that we've had for the last however many years we've been training, you have access to that. So that's kind of the main reason to even hire personal trainers, that have that access. If not, I mean, there's no problem just, educating yourself and doing it. That's how all of us personal trainers started. But is what's your time worth? That's kind of the play. If your time is valuable and you want to get there faster, it might be reasonable to hire a coach, local coach, online coach, whatever, just some kind of professional.
No, and you're right. Well, first of all, the investment is easy to make, and you got to maintain it. Now you said it. You can have just for a couple of sessions to get you started, to get you at least the motivation and get you in a program, or at least guide you to what works for you based on your survey, because you do an assessment for them and you would know more. Like, my expertise says that based on what you told me, this is going to be the better route, whatever. Because that's the other thing. People need to consult not only their trainer, but also sometimes their doctors, because they might have problems internally that they don't even know. You get into the wrong program, the wrong workout, and then you can destroy yourself. I'm not talking about just from a health perspective, even bones, muscle, whatever. You can have something that is not clear yet, and then you do a wrong move and it's over.
Yeah.
We're talking about the 50s, 40s and 50s. When I hit the 40s, my first thing was my shoulders. They started hurting. I had one of those frozen shoulders. That was painful. You could not raise your hand. So I went to the doctor. He looked at me, did the X-rays, MRI, everything was good. But so it's therapy, baby. So he didn't even do therapy for me. It was like, here's YouTube videos. Is what you need to do. Just lounge back, lounge it up, and just go there and keep it there for a few minutes. And I did it, and then it was one, and then it went the other, and then that's gone.
Yeah,
I haven't had it since then. But so I'm telling you, like, that was a change that I experienced in the mid 40s. I'm like, what the hell happened to me? Like, I couldn't even do that.
And, that's what I implore all my clients to do as well. Being online, there's only so much I can do through a screen here. And one of the things I like to do is, go look at reviews on Yelp or Google or something, and find a local therapist. And it would do you well to, go get just at least an initial assessment from a physical therapist. And then thus it just gives us as coaches and personal trainers just more info to work with. We work with physical therapists well. And, there's no problem referring out to some of them. Personal trainers are on one level and physical therapists have their job. Everyone just kind of stays in their lane, and it works better overall for the client as well. So, you don't want to train injured. That's the main point.
Exactly. You want to take care of whatever it is. If you feel something wrong, check it out. Don't, because that's the thing. Especially, I would say, men, we're bad with this.
Yeah.
We're macho, like, I got
push
this.
Through it, baby.
I can make this. Yeah, I got this. Yeah, trust me, your body is gonna tell you, like, what's up. So if it's feeling wrong, there is something wrong. Just listen to it. It's talking to you. But if you don't do the right thing by you, it can hurt you. And that's a good discussion to have with your coach and trainer, because simple recommendation: check a physical therapist or whatever, because those people can help you. identify, and maybe just do an exercise and it's a couple of sessions and you're done. But you'll feel much better than if you don't. And listen, I've had so many shows with physical therapists and experts and stuff. I'll be more than happy to refer anyone to anyone, right? And the whole idea of the podcast and the shows is to actually give resources for people, listeners,
Absolutely.
viewers, have the access to you as a resource yourself, and people can listen to any of those. And you want therapy, we have therapists. You want nutrition, we have nutritionists. You want doctors, we have doctors. Every single aspect of what's going to work for you mentally and physically, we have. So why not? And really, I love what you do. It's now with the virtual, you're open to the world. I
Yeah.
mean, literally, you can. There's no one that you cannot help anywhere. And I guess financially, everybody can pay online these days, so it doesn't matter.
Yeah. And,
So it's
just the same reason for me with my podcast, getting outside of my Orange County bubble the last 3 years I've been doing this and just meeting other health and wellness professionals across the world. I mean, everyone thinks differently and does different, techniques and modalities and everything. It's just, very eye opening. And just like you said, it just provides a Rolodex list of people who might fit that person over, maybe they're in Australia or UK or, on the East Coast for us. It just gives you more to work with and just makes you a better coach. So at least
yeah,
that's what I think that I've learned in the last 3 years of doing this podcast.
yeah. Listen, it's first of all, it's a great opportunity to reach more, spread the word and get acquainted. I mean, to your point, if physically in Orange County, you're only going to be whatever your gym is.
Yeah.
So to your point, one gym, two gyms, you can have 100 gyms, but that's all. With this, you have the world. I mean, literally, people from all over the world can connect with you, can be helped by you, can talk to you, and you'll be able to serve them best this way. And there are resources everywhere. Physical therapy is worldwide. If someone needs, physical therapy, you can tell them, hey, find the local stuff. You can even Google it up and show them, Google Map where they're located.
Yeah.
You don't. It's very easy. We live in a global village these days, so it's like literally we can connect everywhere in the world. So and but again, this is one of the I guess the lights that came out of the pandemic, post pandemic, is that a lot of businesses gone digital, virtual, and it changed their dynamics. It opened up a whole world of access for both customers, clients, as well as services and products, which is an awesome place to be. We had that on the e-commerce, but that was literally you had to have goods and services there. Not this kind of service stuff.
Exactly.
Who knew? Like, I mean, you had before you buy CDs, and you plug them in and you watch your stuff. And back in the days, VHSs, whatever,
Yep.
you would watch, one of those, Typos or whatever, and you get all excited about it. Now you have a live. You can talk to someone anywhere in the world. You can do a webinar and have live audiences doing the workout with you in real time. It's changed the dynamics, of things, and it makes a lot more sense today. And so again, for those that may have an excuse, no more excuses, people. You don't have to live anywhere, close to a gym and still have access to a gym. The space that you need is your living room. You can do it. I mean, literally, you have a backyard, go to the backyard. So it's simplified life, and it also gave access to gyms and trainers. This new model that's huge. Is
Yeah.
a difference. Yep.
As much as I love the entrepreneurial run that I had for 14 years of that brick and mortar game of, working these places and getting clients in and everything, it is a grind. It takes a toll on your soul. And, I'm way happier, much better place now with, one gym and being able to just, put out my passion out there without worrying about cleaning bathrooms, doing the books, moving heavy equipment all the time. So it was a great experience, but I'm over that now, and just I just want to help people. So this is just such a great platform to scale it.
Yeah. But well, I can tell you. I mean, listen, having a gym is beautiful to your point, but it's not easy because you do have to run that stuff, and also you need to maintain enough membership to even sustain. And so I mean, if you have a big box or gym, one of those ones, that's different. Small memberships, most people even don't show up because it's tiny. But if you have a boutique, or mid-size,
You need people showing up.
You need people showing up. You need those memberships, and you need people to be there. And to your point, it's like I know California is not cheap to run any business. Period. I mean, just the real estate itself is expensive. Just like on the East Coast, New York, Jersey, it's not cheap, and even Florida these days is not even a picnic as it used to be. I mean, it used to be cheaper, so it's getting more and more difficult to really maintain these things. And people have found, the online world as a free space. It
Yeah.
cuts, a big overhead, and you can still do the same, if not better. It's small adjustments. I mean, even working out with people live on a Zoom, you have the right equipment, you wouldn't even think that you're not there. I mean, if you have a screen and people
Yeah.
are there, you can even play the same music, everybody's listening, and you can do multiple things. You have apps and things like that these days that you can really do things with. It's not funny. You can even throw in nutrition in there as a program in your own app, whatever. There's so much technology that's available that can really take it to the next level. And we're only scratching. I mean, I looked at metaverse. Well, not metaverse. Yeah, actually, like a metaverse, like
Hmm.
a virtual world. They do have actually. You can design your own. I mean, it's literally about $10,000, I think, a month to run a virtual gym. So your program in a virtual space where people have their own visors, they can be literally physically just like Peloton on
Wow.
the screen.
That's
But
funny because I had that idea. Now someone's already done it.
no, well, actually, there was one company I think that is still promoting it, and I was
Okay.
looking at it 2 years ago when Meta, just was becoming, and because my son had bought his thing just around the time of COVID, and there was a thing about boxing in there, and he felt so good. I'm like, this is the same thing as being at a gym, but and you can be with other people at the same time. So think about it. That's beyond Zoom. I mean, the technology exists. It's just expensive right now. If
Yeah.
you can afford to actually have $10,000, to run a program like that, and you might charge for it properly. Listen,
Could monetize
I
it.
listen. One day, if I have enough money, that's a dream of mine. It would be nice. Think about it. I mean, you and I can be in the same gym at the same time.
Yeah. That'd be
You know,
badass.
yeah, just you and I. Hey, what's up, Eric? What's up, Brad? And we're just like going at it. And you can have a virtual, everything there. We can do the reps. We can do the stuff, and it can create that whole world of create, fun stuff, and just like you can do social and things like that. Now, it's not going to make it, you know, the new life. It's maybe it's going to be a new life, but it's not. It's never going to be better than the real thing, right?
Yeah. It's just an
However,
addition for sure.
exactly. It's an addition. It's a tool for those people that may not have the ability, but at least it gives you an immersed, type of experience where you'll feel more. I mean, it's one thing to be on a screen, tiny and looking at it. It's, the audio is not as bad, as good. But if you're an immersed experience where literally you feel that you're present in the time with the same sound, with the same effects, and you can feel everything, that's awesome. I mean, I mean, if you check it out, it's pretty cool stuff. If you actually test it out, it's worth. I mean, I'm not saying now, but you never know.
Yeah.
That's something that you can consider as an option. I know it's going to happen. It's just a matter of time where it becomes
Yeah.
the norm.
And I bet you a lot of people joining those, once it starts coming more and more out, they're probably more excited about their avatar building bigger muscles than themselves.
Well,
But it'll come with it too.
yeah, yeah. Well, the avatar is there, but it's really, it. You can literally add technology to it. You can have your body in mass, index and everything in there. You can
Yeah.
have your metabolism looking in, good in there. Your cardio can be also in front of you on the screen. You can see it
Your
on the
heart
side
rate,
of you.
everything.
Yeah, everything is like you can see. Like imagine the space suits, where you have like the
Yeah.
visuals. It's exactly that. You can see all the stuff in real time. Like so it gets you. You can compete with others. You can do all the stuff together, up and down, and you can see it as the technology exists. It just needs to get a little bit more, I guess, cheaper.
Yeah.
But it will happen. I'm telling you, like 10 years from now, that will be the way
That'll
to
be the
do
next
the
thing for
virtual.
sure.
Yeah. I mean, imagine you and I right now not doing Zoom, doing it through I mean, maybe Zoom could think about doing a virtual Zoom.
Yeah.
So
Exactly.
just imagine if we had a Zoom right now, visor to visor. I don't have to actually sit in front of the camera. We just like, boom. What's up, Brad? How you
And
doing?
we're in the same room with each
The
other.
same
Yeah.
room. I mean, they do have a virtual actually set, but it's still set on a screen. But I mean, I don't see it as a very difficult thing to do. I mean, we're talking about innovation in the fitness here, but it could be in any other aspect. But that will bring the world closer, and anybody, I mean, as long as they can afford it, they can do it. And if you can make it
Yeah.
affordable enough, I think you could do it. So
And that's the thing. And take care of yourselves until we get to this point to where we can do some of this cool stuff. So
the easy way, just walk.
yeah,
You know,
just get outside and start
just get
walking.
outside and walk.
Just
I mean,
something.
in the pandemic, many people I mean, some states were locked down. I mean, you couldn't even leave the house, in some countries, forget about it. I know in Jersey, for example, people were walking around, freely in the
Same here.
streets. I
Yeah,
mean, they're aware of people. They don't connect with anyone. They're just moving around. And so if you have space, in most of the states, you didn't have to worry about it. People did some just movement, running, walking, biking, all the stuff. And by the way, immune system means healthier body. Simple.
exactly. Getting
Workout.
sunlight.
Yep, that's it. All of this stuff is good for you, and the least of it you do, the more you're gonna have issues. So Brad, we've
That's
covered a
it.
lot of grounds, man. So what advice would you have for our people today? Like, just to, as a takeaway, and then also, how can people reach out to you?
Yeah, I think the main takeaway is to adopt that kind of overall health, not just what my, how much I can bench press or what my biceps look like. Take a grander picture of your mental stress, your hydration, your sleep, um, getting into your 80s, 90s, hundreds, and it'll just be a more it'd just be a better experience and more fulfilling, and just slow down, not just with the workouts but just in life. There is plenty of time. It doesn't have to all happen today. That's what the New Year's resolution crowd comes in and has that kind of mentality, and we got to kind of stifle them a little bit. But yeah, so just been in the game for 14 years and love what I do. And my podcast is called Over 40 Fitness Hacks, and my website is over40fitnesshacks.com. That's kind of the best ways to get a hold of me. And that's 40, not spelled out. And yeah, I'd love to hear from people and, get ideas of other topics to talk about on my podcast.
All right. Well, listen, and it's funny you said something that about slowing down about life. And usually you end up with it, but it's just something we should just touch on it quickly. Is that people, when you're younger, time seems to have limitless, boundaries. There is no boundaries to time. When somehow you hit the 40, it's still okay. Once you hit the 50, I don't know why, but you start counting the time. The clock start ticking.
Yeah.
It is a feeling that is, I cannot describe it. I'm not one of those people that will put you down in terms of your ideology here, but it's reality. I mean, at least I can tell you for me, it's somehow you look at time different. You want to do more. You want to take as much in, because here's the thing, even the healthiest you can be, I mean, 60, 70, the best, I mean, you can maintain, still not going to be the same as your optimum in the 40s, 30s. That's your best. 50s, you can still maintain. 60s, you start going to drop in, and so on and so forth. So time is actually of the essence. It's important. Manage it well and slow down in certain things. Enjoy your life. Do what's best for you. Stay healthy, man. That's it. So that's my two cents on that one.
Yeah.
You
And you know
touched
what,
on that one.
Hurricane, if I always like putting this question out there, if you could travel back in time right now to talk to your 20-year-old self, would you listen to yourself?
Um, yes, I would say yes. If if
Uh,
if if I can see me, like, literally, like, damn, that's you, like, Spock,
yeah.
traveling in time, that would be the stuff. But
For me, I would say, shut up, old man, get out of here. So no, I get it. You got to earn your stripes and everything in your youth, but just hopefully, if younger people are listening, just take a little bit of it to heart, and it'll just go a long way.
just don't dismiss it. Just
Yeah, just don't
keep
dismiss
it
it
here in the back.
in the back.
No, and you'll see the signs. But again, we're only listen. We want everybody to be healthy. That's the whole idea here.
Yeah.
We want everybody to be fit, healthy, and stay healthy. So we're talking the same language. So you probably are happy about that part. We're just telling you what to avoid and how to eliminate some of the risks so you can do better. Because I'm sure you want to enjoy your life. Whatever you're doing right now, you want to do more of it and do it better. So we're just giving you a few tips. So Brad and I, we have the same mission, is to help you keep that motivation, your health, your fitness, your status, as long as you can. Nothing wrong with that. So
Nope.
yeah, so that's it.
Yep. That's it in a nutshell.
All right. Well, Brad, so your podcast is available, right? Also they can listen to it on iTunes, I'm
Yeah.
assuming, everywhere.
iTunes, Spotify, wherever your favorite player is. I have it pretty much everywhere.
All right. Cool. All right. Well, there you have it, folks. Hope you had the fun with us, in this nice little discussion. Like I told you, Brad and I, we hit it off. It's a topic that it's dear to me, and I enjoy talking about it. So we're in the same mix here. So take whatever you can from it, apply it, share it, please do, and do share. The connection with Brad, and follow him, listen to his podcast. There's more stuff in his work and talk that that he's got with other guests. And well, his guest, I think, right? So you're the host there.
Yeah.
So you're gonna have a lot of more value there. So please check them out. So that being said, I'm Hurricane Age. Oh, first of all, Brad, thank you for being with me
Yeah.
and for
Thank you so
sharing.
much, Hurricane. And I'll see you all in the metaverse.
That's it. See you all in the metaverse. Well, hopefully we'll see you in real. All right, folks. That's it for tonight. We'll be talking soon. New day, new show and topic. Bye.